Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to our holiday card making demonstration video. Today I have Cyndi Knecht with us. I think a lot of you have done paper crafting with her before, so it should be an enjoyable event for you. And I'm going to turn it over to Cyndi and she's going to show you what she's got today.
Hi everybody, I'm happy to be here with you all. Hopefully at this point you've picked up a package from the Busch Branch Library. It has two plastic baggies inside, one with snowflakes at the bottom and one with a tree at the bottom. And those are your materials for today's class. It's going to be different than a normal class because I can't have you doing any of the stamping or the die cutting or embossing or anything like that we usually do in a card class, but I hope it'll be enjoyable as we assemble the card today. The first card we're going to work on is this one, and you could call it a rainbow Christmas tree card. It's not traditional colors, but I hope you like it. On the inside, it's stamped for you already, and in the packet, which I've already dumped on the floor and had to be rescued. Okay, you'll get the envelope. You'll get the top layer of your card. You'll get a matting layer, and they're different colors because I used all the different colors in our palette here. Some of you will have yellow, some green, and so forth. Then you have the trees, which are already stamped and punched out. For those of you new to stamping and all that, let's see. This is a punch, and it's the punch I used to punch out all the trees. Let's see. We used a stamp set I had called Perfectly Plaid. And as you can see, it has a variety of things that you could stamp. And all we did, or I did rather, was take an ink pad and tap it. And then I had a piece of paper and I stamped it. And I like to hold it for a few seconds to let the ink absorb into the paper. If you're new to it, like I was years ago, you'll probably have to do things a few times to learn, and that's all part of the learning process. Or in my case, the perennial learning process, because I can't tell you how many times I stamped and punched for this class today. Excuse me while I turn the punch around. And this is what I did. And sometimes I got it right and sometimes I didn't. And that's how easy it is. There are a lot of different There are a lot of different companies that sell stamps and dies and all that, and you can find them at Joann's and Michael's and online. Okay. All right. Now I haven't practiced putting something together, what I call backwards. You can use glue, and what I like to do sometimes, if I'm gluing something, you can actually dip a little bit of a sponge in the glue, and then, let's see, which one do I want to use here? I think I dumped out the blue one. Let's just use this one as an example. Or you can apply it directly from the bottle if you are careful and not put too much down. What I've done on the original card, as you can see, there's a little definition. These two are a little bit higher. And what I did was, on the back of each of two of your trees, I should say, is I put what they call foam dots or whatever on the back of your card, so that all you have to do is peel off the backing. And I'm only going to do a couple, just so to give you the idea. And you'll get these little backing things everywhere in your house if you do this long enough. Find them in very odd places, even parts of your anatomy. It's very strange. But you'd continue like this, alternating. So you all get the idea, because you're all brilliant, okay? And you might want to start off a little bit further over on this edge, so you're not cramped at all, okay? What I like to do is, in your kit, also I should mention, okay, you each have some gems to put over your trees. And most of them are clear, but you'll see this one is colored. And I just wanted to point out to you that if you buy clear gems to put on projects, if you have alcohol markers, not water-based markers, but alcohol markers, if I can pick it up, here we go. All you have to do is use an alcohol marker to make it whatever color you want for your project. And that's a tip I learned on the internet. By the way, most of what I learned from going to Pinterest and YouTube, because there are dozens and dozens and dozens of sources out there of people that show you how to use, well, they're selling products, so you have to kind of be careful, but because you could spend a lot of money. But they give you ideas for stamps that you might have already, or inexpensive stamps you buy on the internet. Okay. All right. All right, so you get the idea of what you can do with this. Then you would use glue, or I like to use a tape runner, or you can use double-sided tape. There's a lot of things out there for you to try, and you'll figure out after a while, if you get into card making, what supplies you like to use the most. Took me about 5 years before I decided the tape is what I prefer. I should show you my grubby glue bottle because it looks like a wild 5-year-old used it. It got so messy, but anyway. All right, so then at that point, where is it? I'll get it out this one. I had to use a backup one. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Okay. So this is the inside of your card. It's left blank for you to put a message of your choice. And then you would just tape this to the base. Most cards are in the United States are called A2 cards because they fit into an A2 envelope. And you either cut a piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper at the 5.5 inch mark, or you could do it sideways and cut it down the middle that way. And that, they call this a landscape card, or it's also called a hot dog card. Or the other way, it's called a portrait, let's see, yeah, the portrait card, or the hot dog card. So whichever way you want to call it. Okay. So that's the end of, I'll show the pretty one again. So that's how you assemble your first card. All right, this is our second card, Snowflake Wishes. I was in a blue mood again. I love all the different patterns in these papers. Okay, what you see in your extravagant baggie here is will go on the inside of your card. And there's your envelope. And this is what you need. Not the little pieces of trash that come out when you make die cuts, but anyway, so these are all the supplies you need to make this card. Let's see. You'll notice that there are 3 different size snowflakes, and I made them with my own hands. And sometimes there's little things left in the middle that you have to make sure are out before you try to assemble it. Okay. And there's actually a little tool you can buy, and the name is Pokey Tool. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what everybody calls it. That you can use to get the little stubborn little, there it goes, thing in the middle out. On your information sheet, it'll tell you the dimensions. These are all 1 inch by 4 inch. And there are 5 of them. So guess how big the card has to be this way in order to fit all the 5. That's right, a little over 5, 5 1/4. And you can put them in any order you want. When I did this card, I used glue, and I got a little glue around here, so if I had more time, I'd probably add another snowflake right over the glue. And then you'd really not notice it, would you? Hopefully not, anyway. So I would get my tape runner here. Some of the paper, as you can see, is double-sided, so you decide for yourself what sides of each paper you want to use, because you're the creator of your own cards, of course. Let's see. I kind of like this arrangement here. So I will use the tape runner. Put it on the edge here. And usually you're concerned with the way the card opens up, like you want to make sure that your pattern is going in the right direction if you have one that you need it to be in a certain direction. But you just keep doing this, and as you can see, it's not going to take you any time at all to make these. At least once you've cut all the paper. If you have a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper, you can get 36 of these strips from one piece, and if it's double-sided, you've already are halfway there to making a lot of different cards with the paper you have on hand. Okay. No, that's too similar. That one's out of glue, so I go to my backup right away. And most people are much more exact than I tend to be, but remember, it's a homemade card made with love, and if it was perfect, then you might as well get it from Hallmark. All right. Okay. Then you can decide how you want your card. The original is straight across. This one I tilted a bit. You might want yours up here and snowflakes down there. And if you have snowflakes, you could buy stickers or pre-made die cuts or whatever if you wanted to add even more. I kind of like it straight across. I hope you guys can tell me whether that's even or not. Okay. Now I'm going to use the glue method. And just turn it over and tap a little glue on the back. Okay. And now, let's see, where should I put it? Right here? Yeah, that's okay. You just don't want it to, oops, do what I just did, which is make it a little bit bigger than the card itself. You want it not to run over the edge because this card fits perfectly in the envelope that's provided. So we'll carefully lift that up. I've been making cards for years, but I still tend to make quite a few mistakes. So don't let fear of making mistakes stop you from enjoying this. The reason there are 3 snowflakes instead of more is because there's a, I don't know if it's an unwritten or written rule that things are more pleasing in groups of 1, 3, or 5. If they're even numbered, for some reason our eyes don't like it as much. So I'm going to put a little, I'm going to cheat and put a little of this glue on. Now you see why I don't like glue. I get myself all messy. You can actually take a sponge like this and put it in a little plastic container so that you can reuse it as your gluing sponge if you decide to go that route. Here we go. And last but not least, once again, I left it so you could put your own message in there, but you can actually go to any store and find a collection of Christmas sentiments and use that on so many different cards. Okay. It's very interesting doing this upside down. I'll have to practice if I do more of these. Because it looks different. Well, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay. I did want to share with you how I did this card, though, in terms of the stamps that were used. I used a more expensive stamp set with all these nice little things. And it also came with dies that cut out the different snowflakes. And what you do is you put it on a die cut machine, which most of the libraries in Warren have one that they use for card making crafting, or they can at least borrow one. And you put a piece of paper down, then put your die down, and it's sandwiched between some plastic plates, and it gets cranked through a machine, and that's how these get cut out. Okay. So that's really nice, but sometimes you just want something that's basic and not too expensive. And you can go online, like on Amazon, and find stamp sets like these for, you know, less than $8 and use them. That's right, I wanted to show you guys. Oops. I keep making the table roll, so sorry if you get vertigo or something. Okay, this is called an acrylic block, and these are acrylic stamps. And what I did, I didn't use a block for these, I used the block for the tree. When I wanted to do all these snowflakes at the same time, so I wasn't going back and forth, I used what's called a stamp positioner. And what I did is I took stamps from this little stamp set and I put it in the machine. Then you take a piece of paper and let's see, where'd my ink go? It's over here. I'll come back in just a minute, I promise. There it is. Now you can use a large ink pad or, hey, this is called a mini ink cube. Let's try this one instead. We'll do purple just for the heck of it. So this is a mini ink cube and it's a lot easier to ink up a stamp positioner like this with a little ink cube. It allows you better control, because I usually make a real big mess and I have to spend half my time cleaning it. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, oops. You might have to put some elbow grease in it. And the reason why you use a stamp positioner is if it didn't turn out 100%, like the small ones here at the bottom, you can do it again as often as you like. And if you do it several times, you can make a lighter ink color look darker by layering it a bit. And this is why my fingers are all dark blue and purple, is because I was working on these earlier today. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what a stamp positioning tool can do. It can allow you to improve the image, and it can also allow you to do a lot at one time, and it's good for kind of like a Detroit Special and assembly line type of Christmas card, which is what I did with these card kits for you today. Well, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do this again sometime, or maybe in the future, a real class in a real room with other people without masks. Let's hope for that. Everyone, have a very Merry Christmas.
All right, we just want to say thank you to Cyndi for taking the time to come out and film the card making today, as well as putting together all of these wonderful supplies for all of you. Remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and give us a call at the Busch Branch at 586-353-0580, or you can stop in. Thank you so much and have a good holiday.